makes it confusing, I think, for the public to follow, but also for us to follow. And I appreciate Supervisor Brown bringing this up. She would be next in line to be chair following the current rotation. But maybe we should have some discussion of, is there a value in switching the current rotation so that it follows in numerical sequence? And then I think also we shouldn't do that unless Supervisor Brown supports that, because she is the one that would be most directly affected, because she would, in effect, if we made a change, she would be deferring her opportunity to be chair.
For 1 year.
For
probably 1 year.
For 2 years, I think.
1 year.
Well, because the current sequence is 3-1-5, so if a switch was made, the switch would be between 1 and 4, and so it'd be for 2 years, actually.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Supervisor Colfax would be in the middle, so it would be actually what the new rotation would be 3-4-5, so it would go Supervisor Smith, Colfax, and then back to Supervisor Brown if we made that switch. But so, you know, the question is kind of two-part. Do we think there's a value in trying to put it in numerical sequence, and is Supervisor Brown willing to defer?
Well, you could put it back in sequence, but what's to say that next year or any other year, somebody, the vice chair, we've had this historical of where the gavel passes in sequence, but the vice chair, maybe that's where it got out of sequence, was to the vice chair, and you could do that, but that doesn't change it on any given year to put it back out of sequence again with the vice chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that maybe there is some confusion or question about this concept of sequencing and numerical order. So I think maybe we need to ask for a historical perspective for any of those present who might wish to offer one. But I'm not seeing at this juncture any specific need or reason to change the sequencing. I think the sequencing isn't a literal one that progresses from 1 to 5. I think the rotation of the election cycles and the staggering of those, Supervisor Colfax is, I believe, nodding, I think the sequencing is impacted by that, because you have 2 supervisorial seats open at once, and then in this next rotation you have 3. It's the 2-3 option. So I think that that's more to the sequencing. That's a factor in it. So it isn't a literal progression from 1 to 5. So at this juncture, short of any information that would sort of highlight a reason, I believe, to change it, I don't really think that there is really a need to change it.
Do you remember the public want to speak on this? Been out there? Sure.
I just want to thank you, Supervisor Smith, for the explanation, and I wanted to offer it for discussion.
Okay, so
I'll nominate Supervisor Brown to be vice chair.
Second.
okay, we have a motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 So motion carries unanimously.
Motion carried unanimously. Okay. Now we're going to move into public comment. Is there members of the public that want to speak here? We got a list of cards here. Norm Duvall, former 5th District Supervisor for 16 years.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I hope to be very brief, and I will not go over the 3 minutes. My name is Norman Duvall. The Mendocino Arts Center is celebrating its 50th anniversary. In 1963, I helped Bill Zaka, the founder of the Arts Center, pound nails in what is the Mendocino Helen Shoney Theater. And since that time, in the 70s, I've served 3 terms on the board of directors of the Arts Center, and for a couple of years served as its chair, president of the board. The Arts Center received no notice, none whatsoever, of the general plan amendment and the motion, no mention in the staff report of the usurping, the taking of 4 student units from the Mendocino Arts Center, allocated in the Mendocino Town Plan, allocating them in a general plan amendment process, an application to take those student housing units, convert them into visitor serving units, and attach them to the Reed Manor at the request of the owners of the McCullum House. Had the Art Center known that their 4 units, allocated but not yet built, was up for any discussion whatsoever, you can be sure that those of us who are here today and those of us who only wish they could be here today would have filled this room. The Mendocino Arts Center is the genesis of what created the town of Mendocino. Is the golden goose of the Mendocino coast, with all respect to Fort Bragg and its ever-growing art community, but it too has grown from what was created by the Mendocino Arts Center. The Wallala Arts Center, the Elk Studio Gallery. It has spawned a remarkable industry, yet this board, I believe by a lack of information and certainly a lack of hearing from us, made a decision on December 15th, which is a grievous concern to us. I don't know if you knew what you need to know about the Mendocino Arts Center, and this morning I find in the planning department that already the county has filed a notice of final action with the California Coastal Commission that puts this in extremis. We are in a collision course with this Board of Supervisors and this county to protect ourselves and to protect Mendocino Arts Center, its membership, its constituents. We have them just as you do. I look forward to the other speakers who are here today. I'll ask you to please review, consider, and read, and fully understand what has happened. We cannot let it stand. Our president today, Brent Stickle, Esquire, has written to the county. I don't have a copy of his letter available to me, saying that we will do whatever is necessary to protect which is a right of the Mendocino Arts Center. And in closing, I invite you all onto the access program on KCYX and Z. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duvall, and thank you for your many years of county service. Dale Moyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also just want to read the text of my letter to the board into the record. It is my understanding that the Board of Supervisors has voted on December 9th, item 7C5, to transfer certain housing unit permits assigned to the Mendocino Arts Center to a for-profit entity, namely the McCallum House LLC. I also understand this action was taken without notice to the Arts Center. As an instructor and a member of the Arts Center, I oppose this action, which may have grave impact on the financial well-being of Mendocino Arts Center and may have adverse effects on the Arts Center's current plans for growth. My wife, Susan Louise Moyer, has taught many classes at the Mendocino Arts Center each year since 1991, and I have taught periodically since 1998. Susan's classes alone have brought hundreds of students from all over the world to Mendocino for weeks at a time. These students have contributed immensely to the economy of Mendocino and Mendocino County. In fact, we moved here 10 years ago from the East Coast, from the New York area, because of the Arts Center and the great community it has been so influential in creating. I am opposed to any action that could harm the financial future of the Mendocino Arts Center, especially in these trying times. And I request that the action be rescinded. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moyer.